all doing today, Friday? We're in the month of April. My name is Kiana. I help people align within. I'm very technically oriented, analytical, and so I like to make all of the things that I bring to my clients very applicable. So helping people align physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That is what I do. I don't know, the magnet on here is not staying. Please forgive me for that. I'm going to wait to see if people join in today. We're talking about communication. It's such a big topic, and yet people struggle so frequently. Hey, Mick, good to see you. Hello, hello. Today's a good topic. It's communication. And, you know, I was thinking as I was writing the topic of communication, what aspect of communication should I talk about today? Because I want to share about my tea ceremony this morning, because I do my silent tea ceremonies. Hello, Eric. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. All right, Eric and Mick in the house. Love it. I came on a little bit earlier today because I was inspired from my tea ceremony. So as you know, I do these silent tea ceremonies every week. So if you guys are ever interested and you want to participate, I could send a link. I think I might do one on YouTube, actually. Maybe next week I'll do one on YouTube. It's really nice. Anyways, you're just really present. But today the topic of communication came up. And the thing about communication, so when I used to go into organizations, this is like pre-COVID, I was always doing crisis consulting. Basically, how do you take this dysfunctional team and make it so they are on their mark? Because I don't know if I told you all this, but for 3 years in a row, I was called in to do the number one issue that was facing the Navy. So basically, the number one issue means this is the biggest problem with the highest propensity for cost and failure of mission. So I don't know. I don't share that much about that work, but I was called in 3 years in a row to correct the course of these particular teams that were about to fail because they weren't going to meet the mission at all. And even though I'm not in agreement with the missions necessarily, that's not my job to be in agreement or not in agreement with the mission. It's very interesting, but people are people and they have to do their job. So communication is always the issue when it comes to dysfunction. And that's because people hello, good to see you all. Thanks for joining me. We're talking about communication and just sharing why that's the number one issue. The number one issue that people have, whether it's at work, with their teams, with dysfunction, in their marriages, in their relationships, in their family, it's always going to come down to communication. And that is because people are communicating internally. They have their own mental thoughts, their own emotional body communicating with them, whether it's functional or dysfunctional. And then there's projection, right? A lot of people don't understand projection, but that's when people have issues with somebody else and they project it on them as if it was the other person that was doing this thing that they are doing. And that happens all the time in communication. And then that becomes magnified when you have multiple people, right? And then the real dysfunction becomes when you have a conversation in your head or in your mind about a situation, trying to get it just right, and you don't have it with the person that you're actually trying to get some type of resolution with. And so it's just like I don't know why people have conversations in their head without having it with the person, But it's very confusing to me because if I have a problem, I've always just brought the problem to the person. But in teams, in relationships, people will go take it elsewhere. They'll go talk to their coworker about it, and then they'll go talk to their friends if it's their partnership. They'll talk to their coach or their coworkers, but they don't talk to the people that they're actually having the issue with. So that's part of the dysfunction, is that people feel like they have to process their conversation before they actually have the conversation, which is actually, it's like you want to know what it's like to have a nice piece of chocolate cake, but you don't want to eat the chocolate cake first to have the experience, to have the knowing. You want to have the idea of what it will be before you have it. It makes no sense. Have the piece of cake, enjoy it, see what your experience is of it, and then come to a conclusion. You don't want to have a relationship that's based on fake ideas that you've made up in your mind, but people do that all the time. Oh, let me see. What are you saying here? Communication works significantly to a tiny cohort of cronies, isn't it? I don't know what you're saying there. Communication is, it's individual and it's collective. It's not like it's not just one thing. It's because we're one. We're working off of an energetic field, whether we realize it or not. So we have our individual perspective, and then we also have a collective perspective, and then we have a shared perspective. It's very interesting. I'm trying to communicate my living situation with my landlords, and I feel drained, like they're not hearing me or listening to me for over 2 years. Very interesting, Mick. I find that this has often a shift in consciousness. So you might actually be communicating from a different perspective that they can't see or hear because they're not at that level of consciousness. Rakesh is saying it's too early. What does that mean? Rakesh, it's earlier, Rakesh. Oh, Eric's saying, hello, Oliver. Hi, Oliver. Thanks for being here. Oh, I like that. Okay, cohort of cronies stands for a group of friends having a nice camaraderie. Right, but isn't that also just gossiping? I mean, how much time and energy is spent like ruminating over situations, trying to process it? And it's not it's a lack of experience. It's a lack of a willingness to take a risk, to have a communicational experience. And communication isn't supposed to be perfect. And I understand Mick being and feeling drained, but I wonder if you could look at it from their perspective, if that might shift how you're communicating. The thing about communication is that you always have to shift. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? So somebody, the one who's aware that it's not working, needs to be the one that shifts. So with executives, for example, you don't communicate with them the same way you would communicate with the managers. And the managers, you don't communicate the same way as you would to somebody who's doing the work, the worker bee, if you will. It's a different style of communication. So for executives, believe it or not, shorter is better. You cannot send a long email processing why you're making the decision that you're doing. Number one, executives don't have that time. Number two, less is more. And that goes for a lot of situations. So I would look at your landlords as something like that, Mick. Put it in bullets. Here's the issue, 1, 2, 3. And by the way, when I was doing my website, that was the issue that I was having, is that I was communicating how I communicate with my clients. But technicians, people who are very analytical, need very specific directives. And that's not how a lot of people like myself communicate. I like to explain, and I think differently, and that doesn't work for certain communication styles at all. That's exactly what it is, because they're not dealing with what I am. Well, seeing them as dumb doesn't help your situation any. I can see the situation feeling dumb, but you don't want to call them dumb, because that's going to create a divide, Mick. Although I can understand your perspective. Sometimes if do you guys have property management in between you and them? And a lot of times, it's not about them being done. It's just not us understanding the need or what the request is. So try being more explicit for the request. Eric, it's good to see you. It's been too long. How are you? Where are you living these days? How's life? So let's see what you're saying. Nonverbal communication is the prime weapon. It helps in the activation of the mind's eye, isn't it? Well, nonverbal communication is everything. It's 90% of all communication. And yet most people don't understand how important nonverbal is. So nonverbal isn't just what you say, but it's also how you say it, your tone, your frequency. It's all of it. It's your hands. It's all of it. So some people get really offended by my hands moving. That's what they do. They move. Some people don't like my laugh. I love to laugh. If somebody is offended, we were out to lunch last week and I was laughing so hard, like I saw everybody in the tables look at me, but I love to laugh. So I cannot shut my laugh down for anybody. But yeah, nonverbal communication is very powerful. I think you're onto something there. As an Indian, you might be butchering my name. I'm sorry, I know. Okay. Thank you. See, you got it. You saw me struggling and I was trying not to ruin it because I don't want to offend you. So thank you, Dev. I appreciate the reprieve. I didn't want to butcher your name. Rakesh, it's April. Do you still have winter in your state? The sun is out. It is sunny. I'll just show you. The sun is out, but I'm cold. So I'm wearing a nice. I'm cold. What can I say? My hands are cold. Anyways, so communication and really understanding that not everybody is at the same wavelength, if you will, of communication, but that's important. But also just having the willingness to share your perspective is how communication begins. And that could be very vulnerable, but I think what's so important that people need to remember is that communication is happening even when you're not communicating. So not communicating is also a message. And although I find it like crazy that people don't communicate, it shows you their willingness to invest in the relationship. And the bottom line is a lot of people just don't want to invest in relationships. They want to invest in their own ideas of who you are, their own ideas of the relationship as they see it. And some people are okay with that. It just depends. Me, I'm an over communicator. I over communicate, and that really bothers the people who don't communicate. Because you can't lie when you're over communicating. You cannot lie. I think that's it. And I'm also really just genuinely curious about how other people are, about how other people are relating, about how other people are understanding. I'm very curious. It's the city here, Kiana. They're terrible. I've gone hard with them, gentle with them, but to be honest, at all times they're lack. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mick. That's not fun. And it's your home. It's your home. So you probably need something corrected, is what I'm guessing. Rakesh is saying nonverbal communication is everything in the workplace because competence can be judged only through those factors because the art of manipulation is very common. Interesting. Interesting. Well, Dev, I'm an introvert too. Nobody ever guessed that. I'm with you. I'm an introvert, but I don't have like dialogues in my head. Like, what are they going to say? I focus on what do I need to communicate? And I'm very direct in communication. And that doesn't work for a lot of people, I've noticed. Like my husband can communicate quite differently and more effectively in some situations than I. And there's been some situations where I purposefully backed off of how I would normally be to let it resolve in a different way than with me confronting like what is absolutely insane. But as an introvert, Dev, I don't have those conversations. I just think, do I need to say, so here's what came up. This is what I wanted to share. Okay, 17 minutes in and I forgot. I wanted to share about my tea ceremony this morning. So the tea ceremony this morning, the essence of my meditation came to this. What if you were inviting your inner spirit to be the primary mode of communication through all of your verbal communication, through all of the things that needed to be done, whether it's at work or in your personal relationship or out with friends, that you would just allow your inner spirit to be the primary mode of communication. How would your tone be? How would it have that experience? So I wanted to throw that out to you as something to explore. And Mick, I wonder if your inner spirit, your heart, were communicating with your landlords, how would that be different? What would be different? Manipulation happens all the time, Rakesh. But if you're connected to your own inner spirit, you will spot it faster. People manipulate and they don't even know they're doing it. Sometimes liars believe their lies. So, you can't get mad at people. Or you can, but what's the point? It's just your energy. And that's the thing, Mick, is that how much energy is being wasted on your landlords not being responsive. I mean, here's one of the techniques that I have used in the past that usually gets things moving, is if you sent a written communication once, okay, you go back in your email to the sent file, go get that email, and I would use this with executives as well. Go back to the email, look at the title of the email. Okay, if the word action requested, action required, response requested, response required, however you want to say it in your native language where it's not too offensive. Here in America, that depends on the executive, okay? But either way, action needed, approval needed, whatever the language is, that goes in the subject line. This is email number 2. And you're resending the email, and you could either say, see email below, sent 2 days ago, or this is the second of 2 emails, okay? And then see below. Or you could say, bring the email right back up, just copy and paste it. So second email, and then just send it. Then if you do not get a response from that one, which I will be surprised, but if you don't get a response from that within a reasonable period of time, I don't know, you could also say, please confirm receipt of the email, making a request for that. The third message, and this usually works. I've never had to send more than 3 actually, in this method. The third email is 3 of 3 emails goes in the subject line, action required, see email below. And then you just politely say, this is the third email in 2 weeks that I've sent regarding the issues below. Please provide confirmation that you've received this email and next steps, whatever it is that you need. I always get a response from that. So Mick, maybe, I don't know, if you haven't tried that, maybe try that. And if you've called, I would say I've sent 2 emails and 4 messages in the last, and I still need resolution on this. Like, that usually works. Of course, that would change in the country. You guys are all in a different country. But I found like those types of messages in that way is very helpful in providing clarity, because people are very inundated by life, stress, health issues, personnel issues, and usually those things will take precedence over your issue. And sometimes they didn't see it. Yeah, Dev is saying that, in my opinion, the internal environment surpasses the external one. It's the best definition of introvert. Well, you must really like yourself, because you have to like yourself to have those kind of internal dialogues. Okay, Mick is saying, Kiana, I have no peace here. Oh no. Mick, you have no peace anymore, and you have broken down to one of them that's... So maybe it's time to relocate, Mick. Maybe you just need a new space. If there's no peace in the space, maybe it's time to just cut your losses and move on. Rakesh is saying, over communication and an introvert. I thought they talk very less. An introvert is just a preference. An introvert and extrovert are just preferences. It's not about who they are. It's about the way they express. And basically how their energy systems may react in different environments. For example, introverts feel more filled up within with their own energy, whereas extroverts kind of pull from the energy of a group. I can manage and do both. Obviously, I've been a consultant for many years, and I've been in public for a long time. So I could do the work of an extrovert. I just don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy the reprieve and the peace and the processing of the experience of a group. I love working in groups. It's my forte. I am an expert in the managing and facilitation of groups. I love it. I love working with couples. I love seeing the dynamic energy expand. You could do more faster with groups of people. So I love it. I love it in that way. But when I was doing the consulting work, I would be out there for let's just say a week, and I work 60-hour weeks, and I would need to rest for a full 5 days in order to get my my energy back. Nilsson says, good night, listening English to improve my hearing. All right. Good to see you. Good to see you here. So anyways, Nilsson, the best way to improve your listening skills is to listen from your heart, not your mind. The mind, and even my mind, tries to figure things out. Sometimes we just need to listen with our hearts. And I think if we were communicating with others and listening from our heart, I think it would be easier. It would definitely be easier. So then when we get triggered, we're definitely triggered out of our heart, right? Because a trigger is a wound that is unhealed or something that needs resolution within you. And that changes how you can listen, right? So oftentimes people are being triggered and they don't even have a conscious awareness that they're triggered. And it pulls them out of their heart, and therefore they cannot hear others. Happens all the time. Happens to me, happens to you. So how do you keep yourself from being triggered? You notice when you're triggered to go in and to do the healing work that needs to be done. You can't do it for other people. You can't. On another note, this is my last coffee for this week. I can't have coffee tomorrow. Next week I'm going into a purge. If you go to any holy place, whether a church or a shrine or a mosque, and start meditating, closing your eyes, it will definitely fetch serenity. I believe the holiest place that you can go to, Dev, is within your own heart. I don't think that all churches, mosques, or quote unquote holy spaces are very holy. Some of them are, but not all of them. And I would say the best space to experience holiness is within your own heart, within your own connection to the divine. That you asked my opinion. Thanks, Dev. That was a good question. Very deep on this Friday. So, any other questions about, oh yeah, so going back to the meditation this morning, if you were to communicate from your inner spirit, I think this is an invitation. I'm offering you all an invitation today on this Friday for this weekend, and maybe we'll rejoin each other next week to catch up on how many of you did this experience. But invite your inner spirit to be the primary method of communication for you. And so you have to listen to within, and also notice, like, if you're listening, will you speak about the same things? Do you notice that you feel pulled to talk about the same things? I think it's going to be an interesting experience to unpack. So we'll do that next week. We'll unpack it. So all of you get to invite your inner spirit to be the primary communication source for you, and see what you notice. My light just went out. I should go outside. It's nice outside now. Anyways. I'm trying to transfer too much to talk on not the place anyway, sorry. Okay, Mick. Wishing you luck, Mick. All right, y'all. Anything that you want to talk about today? I just wanted to come on and chat. I figured I'd share my coffee with you all today. Thanks, Rakesh, for helping. I must have missed something. Thank you, Deb, for saying my opinion matters a lot. You know, it only matters to those who care. So thank you for caring. I think I think it's important to learn more about what other people think. Sometimes I ask. Sometimes I don't really care what other people's opinions are. Like I notice the news. All the news is a bunch of people's opinions about things that they think that may or may not happen. I find it's quite a waste of time. And I was like, why would I even listen to these people? I don't have a respect or anything for them. Why would I listen? One book I'll recommend everyone to go through is written by Dale Carnegie. Oh, okay. What's the book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. Isn't that Dale Carnegie? I only read one little leaflet book by Dale, and it was about how to remember names, which is I taught this in my bachelor's, but basically to remember people's names is you say it 3 to 5 times in a conversation, and then you touch. And I don't know how appropriate it is now, but you shake their hand or you touch their arm and you say their name 3 to 5 times and then you'll remember. Oh, Mick, you're still here. I thought you took off. Touch for you. Hello. Deb, Google what? You're saying do Google Dale Carnegie? Raw saying no. We're not going to Google. Why would I Google? I don't want to read anything from Dale. I'm very selective about what I'll read these days. And I don't even understand emojis. Oh, hey, Ra. Oh, hi. Communication with emojis is a new thing. I watched the movie Adolescence. Have you guys seen that movie on Netflix? I think it's called Adolescence. But there's a whole part in that movie where they talk about these emojis and what these emojis mean and how these kids are bullied through emojis. It completely blew my mind. So like saying hello, auntie, is that supposed to be a compliment in India? I don't know. I don't take it as a compliment. Why would people not use your name? Yeah, Dev, that's my dog. Emote, to be very precise. I had seen a thing that a lot of those emojis are really symbols for demonic energies. Have you heard that? That's really taking us down a rabbit hole that's probably not good, but I thought it was fascinating. A lot of people don't want to know that because we want it to be what we think it is, not what it actually is. Yeah. Anyways, well, I'm almost done with my coffee. What do you guys have up for going on for the weekend? Anything exciting? Mick, you're going to look for a new place. You're going to find peace within your heart. Beats, all music, demonic. Yeah. I used to listen to rap a lot when I was younger. Now I don't even know what music I listen to. Whatever my husband puts on, and I usually, what is this? Why are you listening to that? Right now I have like meditation music on. I don't think you can hear it. I don't know what kind of music I listen to. I have like workout music. Usually that's the only time I listen to music is when I'm working out. Actually, that's not true. I have frequency music that I play pretty much all the time in my office. That's incorrect. I guess I listen to music a lot. I didn't realize it. I'm listening to this frequency music that is specific to the voice harmonics. I've really been enjoying it. But it's not free. You have to pay a subscription. Only study a little bit of fun, like watching movies. Oh, what are you studying? See, I don't find movies fun. I think a lot of people like it. I like some things. I don't find it very entertaining unless I'm learning. So I always look like, what do I need to learn from this? Anyway. I can hear the music back here. Can you hear it? Satnam Kur, that's who it is. Medical science, oh no. Interesting. Well, you have a lot. I've been listening to, have you ever heard of Dr. Jack Kruse? I've been listening to a lot of him lately. Very interesting. He's like some kind of brain surgeon who is all about decentralized medicine. I don't know if that interests you, but you could go find him on YouTube and see if that's of interest. I find him very interesting. Oh, you have heard of him? Yeah, I downloaded the DMinder, DMINDER.com, and started tracking my vitamin D exposure. It's interesting. I like it. I like his perspective. I like how direct he is, but it's very interesting. Not the norm. Anyways, well, y'all, I hope you have a nice weekend. Thanks for joining me on this Friday impromptu discussion about communication and different ways to communicate, nonverbal. The most important thing is to practice connecting with your inner spirit, allowing your inner spirit to lead your communication, and let's rejoin on next week and see how it goes. Good for you, Mick. Mick is saying he doesn't watch films either. Instrumental music, nice. I think it also is like it just depends where you're at in your life. Okay, y'all, have a great Friday. Thanks for being with me today. I'll see you next week. Let's see how this experiment goes. Take care.